عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم لك الحمد لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. بارك الله فيكم. حياكم الله, and thank you for having me. As Brother Rizal said, we can start with a quick intro, and then inshallah we can go for question and answer. And usually they put a red seat. This one is not red. So it means that your questions will not be very strong and will be mild inshallah on me. So those who are hiding behind the walls, I know that they are preparing for difficult questions. So let's see if they would come and join us here inshallah. Otherwise, sisters, if you would like to come inshallah and have your questions, barakallah fikum, you can have your mic as well. So maybe if I may introduce myself, Abdurahman Hejazi. My family is originally from Mecca. About maybe 5 grandfathers were, as you probably know, the area of Hejaz had starvation in multiple times, but about 5 grandfathers ago they left the area and they went to Damascus, and they were settled there, and that's where my lineage come from. So Hejaz, Mecca, and then Damascus. Do I go to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, or do I go to Sahaba, or do I go to Abu Jahl? I don't know. So I don't know where it goes to. I mean, we have some family members who created a tree that goes all the way to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. I don't know if this is authentic, but that's what they told us. But anyways, Rasul ﷺ has said, "Man asra'a, man abta'a bihi amalu, lam yusra' bihi nasabu." That if your actions are not fast enough to the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your lineage will not help you, even if it was close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know that his uncle Abu Talib was non-Muslim. So the fact that a person might be from the family of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam means nothing, except some fiqh ruling. They cannot earn sadaqah, for example, and so forth. But as far as giving them in anything over others, no, it's only based on someone's action. So I don't care about that, but I mean, you may hear some people from my family saying we belong to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my dialect is Syrian, and my food preference is Damascus food preference. I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia. I lived part of my life in Germany, so I speak little German, and for the most part I got my studies or Islamic studies in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me to be next to some of the most renewable scholars in the world at that time. Those include the giant mufti of Saudi Arabia at the time, Shaykh ibn Baz rahmatullah alayhi, Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, Shaykh ibn Jabreen. I used to sit next to Shaykh ibn Baz rahimahullah and learn from him directly for several years. Shaykh Abdullah ibn Qa'ud was one of my big mashayikh. Shaykh Muhammad bin Lutfi al-Sabbagh, a great scholar from Syria. Shaykh Muhammad al-Rawi, one of the greatest muftis and scholars from Egypt. There was Shaykh Uthmani from Afghanistan, who actually has taught me Quran recitation, and I took the ijaza through another scholar called Ahmed Fahmi, who was one of the mashallah greatest scholars of tilawat or qira'at in Riyadh, and he passed away rahimahullah. Actually, perhaps all my scholars have passed away already, so may Allah forgive us. You probably may think that I'm young. I'm not. So if I can prove you So I lost my hair, and alhamdulillah, I'm still surviving. About 52 years old, 5 children, married to my wife, also from Damascus, and we were born and raised both in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Alhamdulillah, got 5 children. All of them were born here in North America. And the eldest is about 24 years now, or 23 years old. And the youngest is about, I think, 13. So, and they are about 3 years apart. I did secular study. Beside my study, a religious study, I did bachelor, master's, and PhD, all in computer science. My PhD was from Canada. My master's was from Johns Hopkins University in Maryland. PhD-wise, I did machine learning and cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. And I have been working since then in the IT field. I worked for Microsoft, I worked for Amazon, I worked for Cisco, I worked for Oracle, and a few others. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me this dual track. So when I was in Saudi Arabia, I used to go to my mashayikh from Salat al-Fajr all the way to Salat al-Dhuhr. And then after Salat al-Dhuhr, I go to my other secular work till Maghrib. And then I go back from Maghrib all the way to after Isha with the mashayikh. And then I go back home and my mom says the hotel is already closed. So, but alhamdulillah, that's how my life was. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with pursuing both tracks. My father is a professor in organic chemistry. He graduated from Germany, did his PhD from there, went to Saudi Arabia, spent about 55 years there, teaching at a university called King Saud University in Riyadh. And subhanAllah, both he and my mother very practicing Muslims, and they grow me as you can tell. So my father is Shafi'i, my mother is Hanafi. So at the beginning I was raised Hanafi, and then my father took over. And then I used to see, subhanAllah, the dispute between them, especially about sometimes going to the prayer, sometimes on various different masail. One of the things I always remember was a time of Ramadan when my mom wanted to go to one masjid that she enjoys, it's the Imam's recitation. My father wanted to go to another masjid, and then after long heated discussion, I came to understand where the problem is. Apparently, the one that my mom wanted to go to does not give enough time for the ma'moom to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. So once he finishes with Fatiha, he immediately starts with the next surah. In Hanafi madhab, the recitation of the imam is enough for the ma'moom. This is very straightforward fatwa in the Hanafi madhab. In the Shafi'i madhab, on the contrary, everyone has to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. So my dad was not happy because he cannot recite Fatiha when the Imam already starts reciting something else. And they were like, no, this is true, no, this is true. And I grew up this way. And alhamdulillah, I mean, yes, there was a bit of dispute about fiqh ruling, but the house I lived at was full of love and harmony that made me feel that studying madahib is actually a great thing, because now you know how those imams had difference of opinions, but at the same time they had the greatest link and relationship and love between them. And you can tell, subhanAllah, that among the students of Imam Abu Hanifa was Abu Yusuf and Muhammad al-Hassan. Those were the two greatest Imams under Abu Hanifa. Imam Malik was a student of those two Imams. Imam al-Shafi'i was a direct student of Malik. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was direct student of Imam al-Shafi'i. So you see the lineage? So Imam Abu Hanifa, then Imam Abu Yusuf and Muhammad al-Hassan, and then Imam Malik, and then Imam al-Shafi'i, and then Imam Ahmad. And everyone took from the other. To the extent that Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala has said that all the scholars are dependent upon Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal has said another statement. He said, Wallahi, I never thought of Imam al-Shafi'i except that I made dua for him after my prayer. So subhanallah, I mean, they had a lot of difference of opinion, but the love and harmony and the respect among them was to a level that we never thought of. So that's what made me feel I would love to specialize in learning fiqh. But in fact, what happened is that I did study the Hanbali madhab, I did study the Shafi and Hanafi madhab. I did not study the Maliki madhab, but I did comparative madhab, alhamdulillah. I did study hadith, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, under the Mashayikh, rahimahumullah. And I mean, continuously trying to also study more and more of hadith and fiqh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among the students of knowledge, Allahumma ameen. When I first came to America, 1997, I came as an imam for Taraweeh prayer. I led Salat Taraweeh in Maryland, and at that time, I still remember that they told me, why don't you just move here? And subhanAllah, it was only 2 years after that I moved to Maryland in 1999, and since then I'm here. Anything else I want to say? I mean, since that date, 1999, I've been imam for the masajid in the areas that I lived at. So in Maryland, in Ottawa, Canada, in Seattle, Washington, in California, San Jose. I actually led partially at Miriam Center, 2011. And I still have the plaque that they gave me that says ISGH, congratulates you for whatever achievement. So I still have that, subhanAllah. And then I moved back to Maryland. And just before I came here, I was the religious director of a masjid called Prince George Muslim Association. And at the same time, I'm the chairman of a masjid called Dar al-Taqwa, both in Maryland. Alhamdulillah, so I played both sides. On one masjid, I was leading the religious director. The other one, I was leading on the administration level. So I saw what it means to play the two different roles. Alhamdulillah, it was a great experience. And now I'm here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen that I feel very comfortable, and alhamdulillah, when I first got the invitation to come here and do a workshop, I was so thrilled to see the large community and see all the different various Muslim from all over the world, alhamdulillah. I saw the mu'adhin from, I think, Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken. I saw some director from Egypt, the Shaykh, the previous Shaykh from Egypt, Barakallah fi. I saw people from Pakistan, from India, from Bangladesh. I saw Syrians, I saw Jordanians, it was a very a great experience. And subhanAllah, from that time, the invitation of coming for interview and getting the role came, and that's where I thought about it very carefully for the past few months, and after deliberate thinking with my parents, with my wife, with my children, alhamdulillah, we came to a conclusion that serving the Muslim community at a larger scale would be a great end to my life, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. So that's what I have. I'm sorry? Allah يجزيك الخير. Allah يجزيك الخير يا رب. بارك الله فيك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Shaykh,
عليكم السلام.
Dr. Hejazi is very humble. He skipped big parts of talking about himself, but I will share a few things. Actually, Shaykh, I investigated so many things about you. I can write a book about you. I went to Wikipedia. I went to many places, YouTube, trying to get videos for the Shaykh, because brothers, it is an amana. It is an amana to bring an imam here. Trust me, I couldn't sleep for weeks and weeks, waking up in the middle of the night praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, use me and don't make me a reason for bad things to happen to the community, because any choice can be right or wrong, right? So just to let you know, mashallah, the Shaykh came with the heavyweight references. From the references that Shaykh have, we have Dr. Walid Basyouni and Dr. Salah and Dr. Yasser Al-Qadi, Yasser Birjas, Mufti. I'm trying to squeeze my mind. Mufti Suhail Anwar, Shaykh, if I'm wrong. He's a pure Hanafi. Shaykh, I spoke to him for 1 hour because the Shaykh is not Hanafi, right? Right, Dr.
Well, I'm originally Hanafi. I'm still proud of being Hanafi or partially Hanafi.
Okay. So just to let you know that the Shaykh works with the Maghrib Institute with Dr. Walid and Sheikh Ammar, and I still remember Dr. Walid told me that one of his classes had 400 students. In Maryland, when the Shaykh was an imam, not in Maryland, when in Seattle,
Ottawa.
On Ottawa, in one of the classes, the Shaykh started with 4 or 5 student class. It ended up with 220. Those are not from the Shaykh. This news I'm telling you was from people who used to sit in these classes, 220, 400, and mashallah, the retention rate was mashallah high. We just came from the Imam conference. It was last weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And all the ISH imams went there. Sheikh Farouqi was there. I got his. I forgot to give you your bag, by the way. I still have it. So anyway, and I saw with my own eyes how Dr. Abdurahman Hejazi is a blessing. I used to accompany him for a reason. Really, I wanted to see him closer. I want to see him, how he reacts, how he talks, how he strategizes, and I saw with my own eyes, and I don't want to compliment the people in front of them, but this is an amana I want to convey to you. With me was Dr. Ali Ahmed, the new imam that the ISH hired, Dr. Irhabi, you can call him. We have Imam Noor, the new imam, young imam, mashallah, in Masjid Katie. I have seen with my own eyes how the imams, all the imams in North America, almost 250 imams, welcomed Dr. Hejazi when they saw him. They're very popular. They sit, discussed, and chat. Some of the discussions they had literally fried my brain. Yani some high-level technical fiqhi things, and mashallah, they are coming from this fiqhi questions that you can just step back and listen to it. You cannot be in the middle. But mashallah, I loved how the shuyukh, they discussed that. We had several meetings with Dr. Walid Basyouni, mashallah, tabarakallah. We had several meetings with Dr. The shuyukh in general. I came very impressed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed not only Masjid al-Salam champions, but the greater city of Houston. Sheikh, there are so many things that I skipped for the sake of the time, but I will start with the first question. I grew up in Medina and I know the answer, but I need the community to know, what does it mean when you say I studied Sahih al-Bukhari through a scholar versus you study a course in a university setup?
Barakallah fiqh. Probably I should just ask, for the record, inshallah, I did study Madhab Abu Hanifa and Madhab Shafi'i and Madhab Ahmad bin Hanbal. I mean, I'm not like I'm not a person that will give fatwa and whatnot. But I mean, for me, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me to to go with the ulama themselves and learn the madhahib and learn the hadith. And frankly speaking, I did also some regular school of fiqh and hadith. The huge difference between them is that you can get someone who probably is even not Muslim. Let him go through a bachelor degree or any program, and then that person can do the assignments, can do the projects, can do the exams, pass them, and get the degree. And you never know what he is. That's possible. In our today's current system, that's possible. But when you do it through the ulama and the mashayikh, I used to go to their homes. I used to live with them. I used to eat with them, sometimes sleep at their homes. And it goes about learning from the ulama etiquette, from the ulama reactions to things, from the ulama private life. Shaykh ibn Qud, rahmahullah ta'ala, in particular, he used to have his fatwa session where people call him from all over the world. And I used to be the person preparing for him, the books and the things, so that when he answers things or even type the masail for him. So that doesn't happen in a regular school system. Taking the adab, taking the akhlaq, taking the tarbiyah, tazkiyah, that only happens when you go directly and engage with the ulama. And that's the traditional way of schooling. And I want to just give you one example of what this means from the life of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmallah. Imam Abu Hanifa in particular is so dear to my heart because maybe because I grew up in my childhood looking at him as the most pioneer scholar. But the more I learn about this man, the more I believe that, subhanAllah, the seeking knowledge through their way is so different from our way. I tell you one thing about Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa never in his life took a penny for any religious service. Imam Abu Hanifa was a merchant. He used to sell silk and cotton and all that. And he used to pay his students to come to his class. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Nowadays, if you have like a session or whatever, they say fee is something. The students have to pay. Imam Abu Hanifa used to pay from his own pocket his students so that they can afford coming to him and seeking knowledge. That was Imam Abu Hanifa. And one of the times, Imam Abu Hanifa's teacher, or like a scholar, was called Hamad. Remember that name, because Imam Abu Hanifa called his son Hamad after his scholar. One day, Imam Abu Hanifa came to his class earlier than usual. So he found his students talking. And the topic was how generous Imam Abu Hanifa was, that he was working, paying from his own pocket to support his students. So when Imam Abu Hanifa heard that they were praising him, he did not like it. And you know what he said? SubhanAllah, I can't imagine. He said, what if you were to see Imam Hamad? Then you would forget about me totally. Because he was the one who taught me how to be generous to others. And he was the most generous person I saw in my journey of seeking knowledge. So this was the type of relationship between scholar and a student, and how they seek knowledge. It wasn't really a regular thing that you go take a certificate, do exams, and alhamdulillah, you pass it. It didn't work that way. And that's why we have alim rabbani, and we have knowledgeable people. I mean, knowledge, anyone can get it. By the way, I met with many Orientalists here in America. There were some professors at Georgetown University. Wallahi, I swear, they know about Islam more than most of our mashayikh. They know, literally, they know Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, all the Sunan, they know tafasir, they know fiqh. They are so deep, but they are non-Muslim. They got all the degrees that Muslim scholars have got, but they are non-Muslims. So degree, I mean, in itself, maybe it's good. I mean, a person can have an organized, structured way of learning the religion. That's great. I'm not saying anything wrong about this, but what I'm saying is that it is not enough. It's not enough. What is more important than a degree is actually a direct connection, direct relationship with the ulama and the scholars, and being a true student of knowledge, someone who bend their knees in front of the scholars for years and years. Barakallahu feekum. So I hope that answers your question.
Anyone has questions? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I will ask question later, but first of all, I know I was in Baltimore. So when Shaykh came in 97, so in 97 he came, and then 98 Shaykh Osama from Medina came. So his colleague, his mentor, Shaykh Adam, he passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate his status. He was also my teacher. And his another colleague, Shaykh Yasin, he's my fiqh teacher. So I was talking about President Maqbool Patel other day, and I told him about you.
Yes.
So he was very much pleased. He has still remembered those, those days. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair for those, things. So now when you came in Baltimore, that was 97, there was only Darut Taqwa, small one, and ISB, Islamic Society of Baltimore, Masjid Rahma at that time. I used to be there at that time, so that's why I know that this thing. And now you went there. And in 96, when I was here, this masjid was not here. So now you see there are so many masajid here, and you see there are so many masajid in Baltimore. So how you feel the difference and the progression, for the Muslim and the people, they are living there and up till now. Because you have seen all these 27 years. So.
Yeah. Allah is clear. That's a great question, and I would love to have a dedicated one whole full session for this, but maybe I can answer with two points, inshallah. One is that, subhanAllah, when I first came, there were very few masajid in Maryland, like acting masajid. MCC was also there, and I think at that point in time, you feel like a stranger. Hijab was not a common thing. My wife covers, and of course she covers fully, and she covers her face as well. And at many places, this was not accepted, and this was not even seen as a good thing, and not a safe thing, I would say. I still remember, subhanAllah, but at that time, it was before September 11 by a couple of years. People were also accepting. And I still remember, I was in Virginia with my wife, and we were taking our driving license. So the police officer asked my wife to get a photo. So my wife was hiding her face. So the police officer asked all the men to leave the room and only asked a woman to take a photo for my wife. So they were very accommodating. And at the same time, we didn't really have that much of support from from a large Muslim community. So everywhere we go, we were a stranger, but at the same time, we didn't really have that much of people pushing back against us. Not until September 11, that's where things have changed, and then people started to create certain opposition or bad feeling against Muslims. Unfortunately, the media was playing a bad role on that. And that's where things have started to change, and I still remember at that time, many sisters have taken off their hijab. Many Muslim brothers stopped going to the masajid. It took a while until we recovered. And now, alhamdulillah, I see things have gone above and beyond what I would dream to have. MashaAllah, when I came and gave the khutbah here the first time, and I saw, mashallah, how the masjid was full in the first two khutbahs, I was like, subhanAllah, what could be better than this, that the masjid is full of musallin. But I was even more impressed to see the kids learning from Shaykh Faruqi and the other mashayikh, may Allah preserve them. This was the thing that really impressed me the most. When I went yesterday to upstairs to go with this Peace Academy and see the kids there, so much thrilled, alhamdulillah. And that gives me hope. alhamdulillah, that we're moving in a good direction, but we need all the Muslims to come together. One last thing, one last point I would like to say. I lived between US and Canada. In Canada, there was a faster immigration rate than America. So America, I think Muslims came long time before Canada, but because of the Canadian immigration system, many Canadians came to Canada all of a sudden. You know what happened because of this? People were clustered based on their origin. So I still remember in Toronto, there's a street called Dundas. I'm not sure if anyone knows this. I was there at a marketplace, and at the time of Maghrib, I asked the person, do you know if there's any masjid here? He said, there are 3 masajid, just in that block. The sad news was, of course, 3 masajid in one area. Why 3? But the more sad news was, one was for Albanians, the other one was for Bosnians, and the third one was for Kosovo. And wallahi, I cannot differentiate between them. I mean, they are all lovely, mashallah, but subhanAllah, people were clustered based on their ethnic background. Similarly, there was another masjid for Bengali, for Egyptian, and I mean, you name it. So that I mean, in my mind, this was problematic. But alhamdulillah, what I'm seeing now in Canada and in America, that Muslims are getting more together. You see that marriage is taking place between different nationalities. You see that the board of masajid, it started to become more mature, more inclusive, have more diversity, and that I see that there is getting more respect to the different madahib, which is very important in my mind. I still remember some of the masajid I went to, they were actually in their bylaws, they say we follow this madhab. In their bylaws. Why should you say this? Now what I see in many bylaws is that we follow the 4 madahib. We respect all the 4 madahib. We will not go outside of Quran and Sunnah and the 4 madahib in fiqh. So I think we're getting more mature, we're getting more people, and alhamdulillah, the most important thing is that we are securing for our children a better path, inshallah, for them. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Anyone?
By the way, I like the questions more than the tea, unless you like the tea. Yes, yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Wa iyyak.
I know the Shaykh from my university. He was also student at the KFUPM, and I was doing my systems engineering masters, and Abbas Quraishi over here, he was doing in civil. So he was a bachelor, he was doing bachelor's in computer science in King Fahd University of Petroleum Minerals. So Shaykh, I just want to ask you, from my memory over there, when you were doing the bachelor's, at what point of time you thought of carrying the career on the religious side rather than on the sciences side? And what was the reason behind it?
Yeah, no, it was before going to my university. The reason was really from the early childhood that my father and my mother both were very practicing, and they both insisted that I go to meet with the mashayikh. So even when I was even at elementary school, my father used to take me with him to the mashayikh, to the ulama, Syrian scholars, and Egyptian scholars at that time to sit and see the ulama. So that actually brought some nice memories in me. And of course, then being exposed to those issues between madahib, different madahib, and that actually gave me the curiosity to even learn from myself and not just rely on my father taking me to the mashayikh. And alhamdulillah, I mean, even when I was at my high school, I did memorize Quran on my own. So I did take the recitation from an Afghani scholar. But then he had to move back to Afghanistan, and I stayed, I completed about 13 juz'a on my own, memorizing them. And I used to go to Shaykh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, through some of the good company that I had. One One of the elder, I would say, friends, he was about 10 years older than me. He used to pick me up from the house and take me to Shaykh Ibn Baz rahmatullah alayhi from Salat al-Fajr all the way to 9 a.m. Wallah, I still remember they used to read in front of Shaykh Ibn Baz 8 books. 8 books. They start with Tafsir ibn Kathir and they end with, I think it was Alfiyat ibn Malik, which is all in Arabic. And they go through, the fiqh, the comparative fiqh, they go through Sahih al-Bukhari, and and Aqidah, and the Seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it was a marvelous experience for me. So, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with people who actually put me on the right track, and at the same time, I loved it. And that's why I always say, unless you love Islam, you cannot learn it well. And if we can get anything in this masjid or any other masjid, it must be that we implant the seed of love of Allah and His Messenger and the religion in the heart of the believers. Yeah. Barakallah feek.
Any questions, brother? Yes, last questions.
Last 2 questions.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
MashaAllah, you come with all of these like great experience. What's your plan on a short term, mid-term for our masjid? And
Allah yazak al khair. Allah barak fikum ya Rab. So I have, in my mind, I have maybe more than one venue of plans. So there's one venue about, and actually this was one of the major reasons for me to consider this place as opposed to other places I was offered a job at or position at. Center of Excellence is in my heart. And I have been working in my secular career on creating Center of Excellence. And bringing that to the masajid was one of the things I did in Maryland. Creating like a masjid manual, creating a set of SOPs, like a set of policies and procedures where you show the best practices, the highest standards in implementing any religious service. So think about how to do marriage, how to officiate marriage, think about how to do janazah, think about how to perform a khutbah, how creating workshops to educate people how to do to educate the preachers on how to do the khutbah, how to do the janazah, and all following the best practices and high standards. So that's one way. The other way is really is for me to work with preachers. In other words, one of the most the areas that I'm most passionate about is taking those knowledge seekers, high achievers, if you would, and excel them in how they become, inshallah, students of knowledge and leaders in their career. It's exact thing that I have got in my early life when those mashayikh, alhamdulillah, have accepted me, although I was still young, and they were so patient with me to go to their homes and to take from their times and ask them stupid questions sometimes. But then, alhamdulillah, they insisted on working with me until I became who I am. I would love to do the same. And if we do this, it's way more important than just giving marvelous khutbah. Because in marvelous khutbah, you do it once, people would be happy about it, but they will leave, and they probably eventually, they may just forget it. But if you create 5 or 10 or maybe 20 or 100 da'iyah, like students of knowledge, then they will go and assist multiple other masajid. I used to teach at Al-Maghrib, and the only reason I left Al-Maghrib was because I was very busy with my PhD, but I saw that there is an interest in learning, but there's not much of interest in going through the true path of students of knowledge, including tazkiyah, including tarbiyah, including learning from the adab, from the etiquettes, learning from the position about things, and etc. So that's another venue. Third venue is actually to revive the message of a masjid. I do see that the true message of masjid is really to get the Muslims united, to get the Muslims to have a strong relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to create better Muslims and better generations. The sad news is that our traditional masajid, especially back home, are meant to just perform salah and leave. People come and they enjoy the recitation, they may cry behind the imam, but khalas, they go away and that's it. What I think the masajid should be are places for people to grow their relationship with Allah, with the community together. And that's why I always say this, and I know some people may not like it, they may not like to hear it. I believe that masajid in America, especially in North America, should welcome women more than men. I know people will say, no, this is the nonsense. In my mind, this is perfect sense. And the reason for this is because men always have venues for them to learn Islam or to do something like Islamic activities anywhere they go. But women, if they don't go to the masjid, where are they going to go? So, and women, not only that they are half of our society, they are the ones who will be responsible for generating all the next generations. So in other words, if la subhanallah we were not able to include women and give them all the platform that enabled them to grow in their spirituality, in their Islamic education, and empower them to grow with that, unless we do this, we're losing everything. We're losing them and we're losing our next generation. Last venue I would like to say is the public image of a masjid. I have been working in interfaith a lot. I do have a great relationship with Christians, Jews, you name the other religions. And I felt that, subhanAllah, across the time, throughout the past time, Muslims are yet to work on their public image and really defining who they are. The false rumors, the false message, the false impression that people have against Muslims is actually impacting them very negatively, to the extent that Muslims are not able to get out of it. So what we need to have is to start showing that Muslims, wherever they are will be the best citizens of the land they live in. Just like how the Muslims were in Abyssinia, and they were the reason that the most of the continent of Africa became Muslim. How Muslims who went in Indonesia have made the largest Muslim population country to become Muslim without even having any conflict or sword or any war. That's what we need to have, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. I got the message from outside that time's up. They are preparing the refreshments, and we need to get back quickly before the Isha Iqama. So with that being said, Jazakallah Shaykh, may Allah accept from you. We are very happy to have you here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your efforts, inshallah, blissful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you and help us, inshallah, be the good student of knowledge that we're talking about. If you can finish with a quick dua, inshallah, then we'll go to get a quick refreshment, inshallah.
Allah barak fikum. Maybe I can say a dua, but I want to have one request. There is no way any imam can be successful unless the people support him with nasiha. So please, all what I'm asking is your nasiha, your dua, and inshallah be explicit, be bold, just say it. Tell me, this is wrong, I like this, I don't like that. Just tell me, barakallah fikum, I love that. This is how we can improve, inshallah. اللهم يا رحمن يا رحيم يا قيوم السماوات والأرضين نسألك يا الله أن توفقنا لكل خير. اللهم يا رب اهد قلوبنا إلى ما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. اللهم يا رحمن يا رحيم يا قيوم السماوات والأرضين بارك في هذا المسجد وبارك في أهله وبارك في من يقوم عليه. اللهم يا ربنا اجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم يا ربنا انفع بنا. اللهم استعملنا في طاعتك يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم يا ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
Brothers, if we can please quickly go outside. We have like 20 minutes, right, to come back for Isha Iqama. So inshallah, refreshments outside. Brother Saif is there. I can see him from the window.